Hey there, everyone. That sexy nerd is back again. And we're watching new Nostalgia Critic. He did all the Kung Fu Panda movies. I guess he's on a DreamWorks kick right now. He just did Shrek not so long ago. But yeah, I think I've seen all of them like once. They weren't really my thing, but I still liked them. You know, if I was a kid though, I probably would have loved them even more if I had grown up. If I feel they'd be a lot more important. I mean, the second one again is actually pretty damn good. The one with Gary Oldman in it as a peacock, as an evil ass peacock. Ew. I love that, and it was like sad because you find out that his mother was killed by this guy, and I think they find his father in the third one, but I don't know why I can't remember that one. I just remember it being good. But hey, let's see what Nostalgia Critic says. So let's just get into the episode. And remember, please like and subscribe if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And let's do this thing, y'all.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic guy. Remember it so you don't have to. When you think of classic film trilogies that go above and beyond, you might think of Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Back to the Future. And slowly but surely, people are adding Kung Fu Panda to that mix. If you think that sounds ridiculous, give them a shot, because you clearly haven't seen them yet. Make no mistake, the reaction you're probably having is the same everybody had when they first saw the trailer. It was a 2008 Jack Black animated DreamWorks film that was not getting many laughs from the audience. And as soon as the title Kung Fu Panda was revealed, the silent reactions turned to moans. Everyone thought this looked terrible. I guess you could blame bad advertising, but I don't know. How do you win people over on Jack Black in Kung Fu Panda?
It's really good.
Stairs.
Jack Black then was seen as, well, Jack Black now. Not bad, but not able to save a lame production. Much like the film suggests, though, it's not always wise to judge on appearances because this movie surprised everybody.
Oh, yeah.
The story takes place in a fictional realm that clearly has a lot of influence from martial arts movies like Seven Samurai or Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but with a modern sense of humor.
Legend says you will be able to hear a butterfly's wing beat.
Whoa, really? That's cool.
It centers around a panda named Po, voiced by Black, who's a big fanboy of the Furious Five, a group of martial artists who are actually named after martial arts techniques.
Yeah.
Monkey, snake, mantis, crane, and tiger. Well, tigress, same thing.
Yeah.
When one of them is about to be chosen to be the Dragon Warrior by their master Uguay, an accident occurs, flinging Po in front of his finger, choosing him instead of Tigress.
How interesting.
Uguay doesn't believe in accidents, though, and demands that Po be prepared to be the Dragon Warrior, despite the Furious Fives and even their instructor Shifu, voiced by Dustin Hoffman, wanting to get rid of him.
We have failed you.
No. If the panda has not quit by morning, then I will have failed you.
Things get worse, though, when Shifu's apprentice turned evil Tai Lung, voiced by Ian McShane, breaks loose from his prison and seeks revenge on his teacher and the Dragon Warrior, in the hopes of gaining their martial arts secrets. So yeah, the story isn't really anything that new, and it does go the direction you think it's gonna go, but it excels at giving you an amazing journey along the way. Just look at this intro. I remember when I saw this, I thought, well, okay, I just saw the one good part of this movie. But it surprisingly keeps this momentum throughout the rest of the film. This is just the opening fight, and it's so fast and creatively laid out, you'd swear it was done in modern day. Not in a film that came out almost 15 years ago. A lot of the animation is like that. One of my favorite shots is Tai Lung breaking out with a feather, that's already a hilarious setup, but he takes out a guard by stuffing his mouth with another guard's weapon, launching him into the air, taking out all the guards under him while he's flying unconscious, and then using him to take out the last guard.
Whoa!
This is only 2 seconds long, yet they accomplish so much in that mere 2 seconds. Going off of that, this film is visually stunning.
It is.
I don't want to give the impression CG films looked bad before this, but they did not look this good. These landscapes are jaw-dropping, and I'll be honest, I think raised the bar for how CG films are supposed to look. Nowadays, it's kind of odd if an animated film doesn't have impressive backgrounds in it, even if it is just a kid's comedy. Speaking of comedy, this film is legitimately hilarious. And it all comes from how distinct, likable, and charismatic the characters are. Well, not all of them have a ton of screen time, like I think Jackie Chan as the monkey has like 5 lines or something. They are relatable. You quickly gravitate towards Po wanting to be accepted and wanting to help out, but you also relate to Shifu and the others feeling cheated after working so hard and giving shade to Po.
The only souvenirs we collect here are bloody knuckles and broken bones.
Yeah.
However, we do see everybody learning something in their own way and their own amount of time. Some of them warm up quickly to Po while others don't. In fact, the higher up and more disciplined they are, the more they see Po as a threat, even though one of their skills is supposed to being able to see things from different angles.
If you have any respect for who we are and what we do, you will be gone by morning.
When they do see how Po can be powerful, using his weight, determination, and even naivete of the danger he's in, they find a new way to teach him seeing the world by what he values, and using that as a means to help him learn. Even the villain has a pretty good backstory. I mentioned how the higher-ups are more closed off to Po being the Dragon Warrior, and it isn't just to serve the story or lesson. We're shown Shifu failing his apprentice who he practically raised, feeling like he needs to be less lenient and passing that harshness down to his next prodigy. This movie honestly could have gotten by fine with these characters just being closed off, but not only did they add a backstory, but it's a backstory that explains the villain, which is another character you didn't need to explain. You could have just said he wanted power. But boom, they combine the two together and they feed into each other really well.
Shifu loved Tai Lung like he had never loved anyone before or since.
By having these things tied together, it reinforces a lot of Eastern philosophy about balance and how everything has its part to play. If I had to pick one downside, I guess I would say maybe the villain's personality. He's by no means bad, he's just not great. I think they either had to make him really funny, really evil, or really sympathetic, and they tried to do all three. Not that this can't work, the pieces are there, it's just the performance and dialogue doesn't make any of it super memorable.
He's a panda. You're a panda.
Finally.
When he's evil, he's just kind of evil. When he's funny, he's just kind of funny. And when he's tragic, he's just kind of tragic. Honestly, when I think of the emotional power this villain has, I think of Shifu fighting him thinking back to when he was a child. That's the only real powerful scene I get out of him, and it's really more Shifu's point of view than what Tai Lung is doing. But again, he's not bad, he's just passable, in a film where everything else is spectacular. And I guess a lot of other people thought that too, because this film was a big hit with both audiences and critics, resulting in a sequel in 2011, where they would battle their greatest enemy yet.
A peacock.
This piece of shit. Yeah, this sequel came out the same weekend and blew this sequel out of the water.
Yeah, bullshit.
And yeah, I have words.
Yeah.
Right after this.
No words, dog. Nobody likes Hangover 2 either.
So on the same weekend Kung Fu Panda was released, The Hangover 2 was released. The reason I bring this up is because one did the exact same thing as the last film, and the other went Empire Strikes Back, giving us something different, deeper, and even better. Can you guess which one more people went to see? The one that had the same shit again. 2011 audiences sucked. The funny thing is, everyone hated the second Hangover. I didn't find anybody that had a good time at it. And I always told him you should have seen the children's film because it's ironically a lot more adult than the adult film.
It is.
Kung Fu Panda 2 had the same writers but a different director this time, which once in a while can be a problem not matching styles. But seeing how this director went on to direct several Love, Death, and Robots episodes, I think it's safe to say you're in good hands. In this follow-up, our heroes have to battle a warlord named Shen, played by Gary Oldman. And where the previous villain was good but not great, this villain was freaking great. I didn't think I could be intimidated by a peacock, but this thing is pretty damn evil.
He is.
The only reason you're still alive is that
Gary
I
Oldman.
find your stupidity mildly amusing.
Well, thank you.
Not only does he look great and move great, but he commands authority and presence. He uses strategy and mind games to rack up a pretty massive body count. And to make things even better, he's still pretty funny.
A little to the left. With the weapon by my a little bit more.
The big journey in this one is Po figuring out who he really is by discovering his true past. Yeah, spoiler, he's adopted.
Might have been kind
Spoilers.
of adopted. I knew it.
I know this is a really old joke, but by God, it makes me laugh whenever it's done. I even loved it when Country Bears did it.
You knew. Why didn't you ever say anything?
Why didn't you say anything?
Without going into too much detail, Poe's backstory, again, isn't anything that new, but man,
It's tragic.
it lays on the emotions with how dark they tell this story. I seriously heard people tearing up when his past is revealed. Kung Fu Panda 2 makes people cry. Let's be honest, that's a major accomplishment of a film with this title.
Of course.
Unlike Hangover 2, though, the characters also evolve. It isn't a simple case of doing the
Tigers is
same
pretty
thing
cool.
over again and characters learning the same lesson. The Fearsome Five really respect Poe now. They work well as a team, and it's really touching to see them try to help him on his journey. Poe and Tigress particularly have a friendship that really feels strong when you remember she wanted to get rid of him and now embraces him like a younger brother.
That's really
My favorite
nice.
scene is just them talking deep on a boat while sparring.
Faster way, until you don't feel anything.
No.
It feels real. A moment with Jack Black and Angelina Jolie playing a martial arts panda and tigress somehow feels real. That shows a lot of care was taken in this production. On top of that, Poe's journey once again reflects a lot of Eastern philosophies on finding inner balance. Michelle Yeoh plays almost a second mentor that this time is trying to show him how to master the battle within after Shifu has
That was
shown him how to
sad,
master
the
the
tear
physical
thing.
battle. And again, because
There it
this
is.
is an animated fantasy comedy, you can visually show what's being taught and it doesn't come across as corny or lame. It matches perfectly.
Your story may not have such a happy beginning, but that doesn't make you who you are. It is the rest of your story.
It was pretty unexpected for the first film to be as good as it was, and like The Hangover 2, it would have been easy just to do the same thing again. But the fact that the filmmakers knew they were being underestimated from the start maybe encouraged them to prove themselves even more. Bottom line, rather than turning in a Hangover 2, I'm glad they instead turned in a Rocky 2.
Nice.
With that said, I guess Kung Fu Panda 3 is kinda like the Rocky 3 of the series. In 2016,
3 is
Kung
awesome.
Fu Panda was given one more go at the big screen, and thankfully, it was really good. But not the best.
Yeah.
This one definitely relied on its slapstick and cuteness a lot more, and to its credit, it was pretty good slapstick, and it was pretty adorably cute. I mean, good God, there's baby pandas in every shot.
Everywhere.
It's like a million Puss in Boots faces filling the screen. That's not to say it doesn't bring the weight, so to speak. Poe is reunited with his father, played by Bryan Cranston,
Yep.
and a whole slew of pandas after thinking he was the last of his kind. Just as he starts to settle in, an evil warrior known as Kai, played by J.K. Simmons, leaves the spirit realm after stealing every kung fu master's chi and plans to take on the quote, ultimate warrior, Poe. Once more, there's a slew of both little and large lessons being learned, like Poe has to take over Shifu's teachings as he is retiring. And as you'd expect, he's figuring out how to teach and yet still learn at the same time. The biggest thing he's trying to learn is how to be with his father, who he discovers has been keeping secrets from him that could essentially cost lives. Where the first film centered around learning about others and the second film centered around learning about yourself, this one seems to combine the two. As through harsh honesty, you can experience great pain, but through forgiveness, you can conquer it. This is shown through many of the characters, including Poe's adopted and biological fathers, who at first see Poe as dividing them, but later learn he can bring them together.
Yeah.
Having you in Poe's life doesn't mean less for me. It means more for Poe.
It's fitting that this one is all about teaching because this is probably the one where I remember the spoken lessons the most.
The more you take, the less you have.
If you only do what you can do, you will never be more than you are now.
Sometimes we do the wrong things for the right reasons.
The villain kinda resorts back to the first movie where he's not really bad, but he's not that spectacular either. Again, it's a good backstory and he's acted well. It's just hard to outdo one that had such a major impact on the main character and enjoyed every moment of evil.
I'm going to take your
Chit chat.
in this
Chitty chat chat.
in this
Regardless, it looked nice, was written nice, was acted nice, and was still much deeper than probably anyone was anticipating. It was a decent send-off. In an age where every franchise makes too many movies or milks a series dry until they end on a lackluster note, this one ends in a pretty satisfactory way. It's not the most epic or original,
Better
but
than
it's a
Shrek.
good feeling you're left with. And again, if you were to tell me this series was going to be more balanced and deep than some other series would eventually turn out, I think we'd all have a hard time believing that. But maybe that's one of the things that does make it so special. It is a franchise about not being underestimated that everybody underestimated. It's more than just 3 family films, it's 3 introductions to powerful philosophies and ways of thinking that have brought a lot of people peace and tranquility. With some butt jokes thrown in. But screw it, even the butt jokes are pretty funny. Because these movies understand good humor, realizing that if you want the drama to hit hard, the jokes also have to hit hard.
Very true.
You can't be that invested in a hero's journey if you don't like the heroes. And good humor is a wonderful way to get people to like your heroes. I think it's pretty great that these movies have turned out as good as they are, surprising both audiences and critics, and even tricking kids into learning something that's not often taught in mainstream media. It's kind of like Avatar: The Last Airbender light, but it's not even that light. It will dive into the heavier stuff, but balance out with the awareness that it is still a comedy first, and a damn funny comedy. But it's also visually stunning, emotionally complex, philosophically knowledgeable, and energetically fun. If you haven't seen it, check it out, and see why at one point everybody was kung fu fighting. Oh, and I just found out they're making a part 4, which makes the sappy ending pretty obsolete.
Fuck you!
I'm a nostalgia critic guy, remember? So you don't have to.
Man, they're making a part 4. Well, I don't know. I mean, if they can make it better. I mean, to be fair, these guys have a great track record. They made all 3 movies, but again, the third one didn't seem that great of an ending. Imagine what he does, the How to Train Your Dragon movies. I've still never seen the third one. Oh man, I gotta do that. But he's absolutely right. Those movies are fantastic. Honestly, I kind of want to show them to my nephew, and I might, maybe I'll do a reaction video for that. I have a couple of movies that I'm going to show to my 7-year-old nephew now, and I'm gonna see what do you guys think? Like, should I show him? So my first thing should be the movie Hercules from Disney, Kung Fu Panda from DreamWorks, or Avatar: The Last Airbender. But that'll be like a watch party if I do that, because I'll have other people in it. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, and sound off in the comments below. But again, great Nostalgia Critic episode. It was more informative. It wasn't as funny, but again, I love being informed, and I love seeing his take on these movies. And I love that it's overwhelmingly positive. I had already seen DreamWorks-uary, so I already knew what he thought of these, but it's nice to hear from his other persona, as he would probably call it. But anyway, please like and subscribe if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And remember, stay tuned for House of the Dragon this weekend at Sunday. So hopefully I'll have it to you by Tuesday this time. Not Wednesday, but YouTube. Anyway, please like and subscribe if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And I'll see you all in the next video.